And welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks as always for making your way here, for checking out the series. Please do hit that subscribe button. I put out 3 new interviews every single week, so it's a great way to keep up with all of your favorite artists. You can do so any of the usual podcast places, Spotify, Apple Podcast, at NPR, WFPK.org, Consequence, or of course right here on YouTube for the video versions. Anywhere you get your podcast from, you can subscribe to Kyle Meredith with. And that's me, Kyle Meredith. Today, I get to talk with Amelia Hampshire. Now, you know Emily from Schitt's Creek. She was on there, the End of Sex. She's been starring in The Big Rig, 12 Monkeys. She's back in this film called Self-Reliance. Now, the film is written, directed, and stars Jake Johnson. Jake from, of course, New Girl, played Nick Miller. And it's the story of this guy who's in a mundane life, is sort of falling apart. His life is falling apart a little bit until one day a limo rolls up and Andy Samberg is in it, playing himself, and offers him a chance at a game show to win $1 million. But it's a dark web game show. And the catch is he has to survive from being killed by secret assassins. Now, Emily plays one of Jake's sisters in the show, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the movie, the concept behind this, what it's been like working with Jake, developing the character of this sister, and playing against Mary Hartman, who plays another sister in it. We get to talk about that. We get to talk about some of her other work as well, from Schitt's Creek to the stuff that she's got coming up. She was working with Norman Lear right before that legend passed away on a reboots of his classic show, Mary Hartman. So I want to get an update on that, as well as season 2 of The Rig and so much more. Let's dig into this and talk Self-Reliance. It's Kyle Meredith with Amelia Hampshire.
Is that Tegan and Sarah on your wall?
That is Tegan and Sarah, autographed even.
Amazing.
Nice, because most people, they go for everything else, because there's some REM and Bowie and Prince, and
Prince
rarely does anyone actually.
Sarah.
Yeah.
I'm Canadian too.
And you're Canadian.
So. Yeah.
You have to. That's a part of the rules. It is such a pleasure to meet you. Seriously. And I'll start right in on this movie too with Self-Reliance, one of the most original scripts that I've seen, one of the funniest movies that I've seen, and everybody is so good on it, including yourself.
Well, thank you, but I totally agree. I feel like it's weird for me to be in something that I actually I like so much, because I feel weird saying because I'm not actually selling it or pretending like it's actually that good. So
is that a problem you have, that you don't always like everything that you're in?
Well, no, it's that you never know, right? You can have a great script, and everything I set out to do at the beginning, you think it's going to be great, and or it can be great and it just doesn't find its audience, or it's the wrong timing. I mean, even Schitt's Creek, quite honestly, the first season, nobody watched it. In fact, it only became popular when we were finished. So you never know, right? But this, I watched it with an audience for the first time at South by Southwest, and I was like, I haven't seen a big comedy like this, that people in a theater are laughing at all collectively. It was just such an experience that I haven't had since, I don't know, 1920.
I will echo that. While I didn't see it in the theater, we've already adopted some of the moments into our lives at home. Like, we've taken it out of the movie now, and from the production assistants, as I speak to my wife over the bed, it's very, it's all of those things.
So good.
So let's just start with the basics, the obvious stuff. Like, how do you end up in this movie? How does this land in your lap?
So I got a call asking if I wanted to have a Zoom meeting with Jake Johnson, and they sent me the script, and I read the script, and I was like, I don't even need a meeting. This script is amazing. So, but yeah, we can have a meeting, but I'm in. So that was basically it. And then we did have a meeting, and he was lovely. And I was really impressed with him as a director, because I I didn't know what to expect. It's his first film, but like he was so generous and just I think he did a great job, like a great job.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to imagine, like, if you ever have the luxury of being able to search out roles that you want to play, that sometimes you just got to take something. But like I would imagine like this is the stuff that actors would be looking for. Is that fair? Like because this is different.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I love that you know that it's not always, you don't always get to choose
Right.
what you want to do. But yeah, and especially working with this cast that is incredible. And I feel a little spoiled that my part was such that I just got to be entertained by everybody. So I just got to laugh or
Right.
try not
That's it. So you play one of the sisters, and
to.
against Mary Holland and the other sister, and I love that there's dynamics between like how would you explain yours? Yours gets to be a bit the more sarcastic of it. Is that like how would you?
Yeah, I guess I remember talking to Jake about it right after I'd read it, and I was like, I feel like from Mary's point of view, my character, that this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to the family, like on a Wednesday. So I think she's really entertained by it and just wants to poke and stoke this fire of him being, from my point of view, bananas. But also plain sisters with Mary being called Mary. My character's name is Mary, but Mary Holland plays my sister. That was confusing. But otherwise, I can't believe we haven't played sisters before, like, or that we aren't actually sisters because it felt so perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, and what you all are able to accomplish in really, not a great amount of screen time, it's because most of the time the camera's following around Jake on these adventures. So when you guys get to be there, whether it's, in the living room or at the club or the line outside the club, I guess, but is there a challenge to that? Because you sort of have to establish a lot in a little, and everyone does such a great job of that. It's actually impressive.
Well, that's so interesting that you say that because it is a small part on the page and stuff. And I feel like you go into a movie like this just being wanting to be a cog in the wheel of this whole thing. So I didn't even think of establishing my character so much as being there for Tommy, for his character. Like there was an kind of in service of aspect to it that ultimately I guess results in us being full humans, but no, it was just easy in a great way.
Yeah. It's like I said, in the chemistry everybody's got together. I mean, yeah, you don't always see that. And even playing around with what this story is even about, like when you get to explain it to somebody, like, I know there's this side of it, like you have Tommy, who's more or less a mess and trying to get his life in order. And then you have this dark web game show that sort of raises the stakes about it all. Like, what is that side like? I don't know how much thought you put into it on that side of things as we just kind of widen out. Like, what does it all mean to you?
These are really good questions, by the way. But like, what's funny is when I read the script, I saw Self-Reliance, and I know this essay by Ralph Waldo Emerson. It's called On Self-Reliance, and I wasn't sure if I can't even remember if it had anything to do with that, but I remember just being struck by that title because that essay was so meaningful to me in my life. And I do feel like there is a deeper meaning in the movie, which is why I think it does hold up so well as both a comedy and a thriller, because it's tied together by this being the most exciting thing that happens in his life because he's not satisfied with where he's at, and he's still, there's some people say like depression is thinking in the past and anxiety is the future, and he's very much in the past and worried about the future. And I think this puts him in the present. Like if you have an assassin after you have to be in the present. And I think there's something about that to me in this movie.
Oh no, I like that angle, like having to be put in the present. I hadn't thought of that exact same way
I hadn't thought of it until right now.
what we're here for, right? We're here to
Yeah.
change the world through these little interviews right here. That's but and it is interesting in a way because this is a movie that does come out of the pandemic. And whether or not, I think, anytime I talk to especially musicians, actors, the sense of loneliness that this character has, and I've noticed that about a bit of Nick's, geez, why did I just do that? Hard habits right there of Jake's scripts. There is something about that loneliness that kind of plays throughout it. And I don't know that you all get to talk about it. And do you all get to talk about, the story in those type of levels? Was that part of the setup?
We didn't, but I am interested in that stuff. I thought about that more after I saw the movie and was just in awe of all the levels of it, because on just out of the gate as a pure comedy, it works so well. And then there's the game of it and the thriller of it. And then there's the family that, as funny as it is, there's this real sensible longing for connection. And that is all of us in the world now. Even I would say, even me, who is I'm a lone wolf. I like to be alone. I don't like to hang out. I don't have fun having fun, but I do like to connect when I do it. If this makes any sense, I never want to go to the party, but once I am there, I always realize oh, I made a friend. That was good.
Yeah, I don't want to go to the party, but I want to be invited to the party, please.
Oh yeah, I want to be invited. I want to be invited. I don't want to go.
So what's your fun? Is it you don't want to go, you don't have fun with the fun? Is work fun? Is that, because that's the type I am. That's why I'm asking that. I work for fun.
That's what me too. And that's what I normally find when I'm at something that is supposed to be fun. The expectation is, hey, come to this thing. It'll be so fun. I know all I'm going to be thinking of is I would have more fun at home working on something. And because that is, I guess, going inside my head, which is a place no one would want to be, but I like to go in there and imagine things and come up with ideas and work on stuff and be inspired by things. And I find that to be the most fun I ever have.
Yeah. And you get to be creative. I get that. My wife will get on me. It's oh, you need to take a break. And I was like, this is my break. This is what I'm this is what I want to do. We're going on a vacation. I'm like, oh,
we're the same person. What sign are you?
I'm a Libra.
Oh, interesting. All my best friends are Libras. Yeah. So, well, I'm a Virgo, so I'm crazy. But yeah, that is, I feel like a vacation is such a nightmare, because then I want to work, and then I come back from forced vacation and it's stressful to me, that I haven't, yeah.
Yeah. If I talk her into letting me take the computer, then the vacation will be a little bit better. We'll see about that. That's interesting, but you get to do so much creative stuff. I do love watching what you're doing. Of course, we have to mention the things like Schitt's Creek, which was so good. And I find it interesting that, the comparison of these two projects of you working with writer and star at the same time.
Yeah, I didn't think of that, but that's true. And I am very impressed by that. With Jake, I was just so impressed by him being able to be an actor, a writer, and a director, and yet be so generous to other people around them, which I would think I would get way too anxious about things I don't know, if I wrote something and an actor did it, I'd be like, you're really going to do it like that? Like, that's not how I'd be the worst.
Yeah.
I would be the absolute worst, where I was in awe of how he was the best. He really let go, like he gave us all the roles once he cast us. He let us embody them in a way that wasn't necessarily on the page, and that is pretty amazing.
That is pretty amazing. One of your other projects I wanted to ask about, because it was funny how it all connected to me like little puzzle pieces. I'm a big fan of Norman Lear, and of course, we lost a legend. And I didn't know your story about you and him yet, about Mary Hartman. But when he passed, I'd read something that said, and he was working right up until his last weeks and was working on this project of rebooting Mary Hartman. And then I read yours. It's like, oh my God, this is all the same people.
Yeah.
Is that still a thing? Because I really want that to still be a thing.
Yes, it is still a thing. It's I mean, there's been so much, because we started this a while ago, and there was, we were at TBS, and then TBS got rid of all their unscripted and became Discovery, and then there was a writer's strike, and so there's just been all these hurdles. And what's interesting was that I just feel like in Norman's passing, it just brought this, I don't know how to say it. It's just when the development process is so long, and I'm not used to that as an actor. I'm used to like getting cast and going, and that his heart was in this, like from the beginning all the way to the end, just makes me want to just do right by him. And
yeah. What was it about that show that you latched onto? Because that wasn't, as you pointed out, it wasn't one of the obvious ones. It's not one of the ones that gets celebrated as much as the others.
No, well, the truth is, I had gone to an acting class in 2008. I went to this acting class because my manager at the time, who is no longer my manager, had said that casting directors didn't think I was funny. And so I went to this acting class to like fix the not funny in my sense of humor. And I went on stage and I did the scene thing. And then I looked to the teacher for her to tell me how to fix it. And she said, have you seen Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman? And I hadn't. And she said, you should watch it. She's your kind of funny. And I watched it. And she even said to me then, she's like, they should remake that show with you. This was like 2008, long time ago. So that's why I feel like Mary has been in my life for so long. And yeah, I can't believe that something like that has kind of come true.
Yeah. Doesn't that say a lot, though?
Still haven't fixed the funny. Still haven't fixed that, but yeah.
No, that's what I see. But didn't that say something about not changing for the world, but letting the world come to you? It's one of those. It's like, we can write that on a little Valentine heart, right? So
Oh, yeah. Oh, there is that quote that like what's that quote? The reasonable man, there's this quote about the reasonable man adapts himself to the world, and the unreasonable man adapts the world to himself, and therefore all progress depends on the unreasonable man. I just feel like and that's kind of self-reliance. What that essay is about is like being the you think nobody's interested in, and that is self-reliance. And that kind of story shows up in my life a lot, so maybe that's the lesson I need to learn.
And look at the way you bring that right back around to the main topic, right? It's like you've done this before.
No, I don't know how that happened. I really don't. I wish I could control that and actually like make that happen more often.
It's really good. I heard about the Rig getting a season 2. That's also exciting. I feel like we're getting into hopefully getting into like lost territory here. It's starting to get like, what's the big mystery unraveling or raveling? Yeah.
I mean, season 2 blew my mind when I read it. I couldn't believe that they had written it before certain things happened in the world that I'm not going to say about, but it is a shocking, exciting season of TV. It's really TV, life imitating art, imitating life.
Yeah, well, I'll be excited about that. And I'll quickly point out, and there's a book, right? You did a book.
Yeah, I did a graphic novel called
Graphic novel.
Amelia Aierwood Basic Witch. And actually, I guess this is the thing that shows up in my life because it's ultimately about this girl, Amelia, who is her family is like the Kardashians of the witch world, and they get their reality show, and she gets kicked out of the reality show because she's shit at magic. But ultimately, the thing she finds is that the thing she thinks isn't good about herself is actually her real magic. And that's the thing that kind of blows up. And yeah, I didn't explain that very well, but it's self-reliance.
You still, right, that's what you still explained it in the context of self-reliance, so that's well done. I haven't seen it yet, but I was just learning about it, and I do love a good graphic novel, so I can't wait to dig into that. And
Oh, thanks.
yeah, and seriously, all of your work, I am such a big fan of what you do, and Self-Reliance is so fun to watch you with this crew, and you all weave your own magic. It's such a pleasure. Seriously, thank you
Look
so
what
much
you
for taking
just
the
did.
time.
Look what you just did. This is good. We're good.
We're good. We're gonna take
Yeah.
this on the
You know
road,
why?
y'all.
Because this is how we have fun.
This is how we have fun. Listen, anytime you need a work buddy, don't call me. Just know that I'm working as well, and we're both having fun together.
Okay, yes. Oh my God. That is so me to say, don't call me. We'll parallel play. But yeah.
No, but seriously, I do hope whenever Mary Hartman rolls around that we do get to talk some more about that, because I'm really interested. But in the meantime, thank you so much for taking the time today. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you so much. This has been my pleasure so much. Thank you.
And thanks to my guest. Also, thanks to you for checking out the episode in the series. Before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button. Again, you get 3 brand new interviews every single week. New one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at right here on YouTube, or of course anywhere in podcast land, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, or WFPK.org as well. A great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover new ones as well. Then after that, actually head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, Facebook, Instagram, mostly on Twitter. All 3 of them, the address is at Kyle Meredith. Do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.